141 Vocabulary. 41.1 Sickness and health. 144. Unwell, sick, flu, fever, US. High temperature, UK. Thermometer, cough, a cold, sneeze, runny nose, sore throat, ache, headache, backache, stomachache, to vomit, pain, swollen, sore, appendicitis, tonsillitis, accident, broken bone, sprain, bandage, stitches, symptoms, medicine, medication, pills, tablets, painkillers, X-ray, appointment, blood test, test results, treatment, operation, allergy, hay fever, rash, itchy, infection, 6x, exercise, lose weight, gain weight, drink water, food poisoning, lie down, rest, heal, recovery, feel better. 145. 42 Obligations. In English, you can use have to or must when talking about obligations or things that are necessary. You may hear it in important instructions such as medical advice. 42.1 Key language obligations. Must and have to. Both express a strong need or obligation to do something. Must not is a strong negative obligation. It means something is not allowed. Don't have to means something is not necessary or there is no obligation. New language, must and have to are vocabulary health and sickness new skill expressing obligation. You must have to, closing curly bracket, rest or your leg won't heal. You must not get your bandage wet or your leg might not heal properly. You don't have to come again. Your leg is better. 42.2 Further examples obligations. He must take 2 pills each morning and evening for the next 2 weeks. She mustn't go back to work until her back is better. Do I have to go back to the doctor again? I'm feeling so much better now. Ma. 42.3 How to form obligations. Must does not change with the subject, but subject have to becomes has to in the third person singular. Both forms are followed by the base form of the main verb. She. 146. Must have to. Main verb. Object. Must. Has to. Take. This medicine. Must not. Doesn't have to. 42.4 Match the phrases that mean the same thing. It's essential she exercises every day. Eating too much sugar isn't allowed. Wearing a helmet is essential. Running isn't allowed until your leg is better. Taking vitamins isn't essential. It's essential that he loses weight. Everyone must wear a helmet. She has to exercise every day. You mustn't eat too much sugar. I don't have to take vitamins. He has to lose weight. You must not run while your leg is healing. 42.5 Read Nadia's note and write answers to the questions as full sentences. Instructions from my doctor. I have to rest after my operation. I don't have to see the surgeon again. Instead, I can see drive. Turner. I have to take my medication twice a day. I must eat before taking the pills. I mustn't go back to work for 14 days. I don't have to do any special exercises. A gentle daily walk is fine. I have to call drive. Turner immediately if I feel sick again. Question for Dr. Turner. Do I have to go to the hospital to get my stitches out? What does Nadia have to do after her operation? She must rest after the operation. Does she have to see the surgeon again? 2. What must she do before taking her medication? Can she go back to work immediately? Does she have to do any special exercises? 6. What does she have to do if she feels sick again? 42 Checklist. Must and have to are health and sickness. Expressing obligation. 147. 43. Making deductions. In English, you can add an extra verb, called a modal verb, to show if a statement is likely or unlikely. You may hear modal verbs when people talk about sickness. 43.1. Key language, might and could. The modal verbs, might and could, are useful for saying that you're not sure about something. New language, might and could. Our vocabulary, health and sickness. New skill, talking about possibility. Use might and could when John has a sore ankle. It could be broken. Something is not certain. The modal verb doesn't. The modal verb is usually followed by the base form of the main verb. Change with the subject. Use might not to describe a negative that is not certain. It's not very swollen, so it might not be serious. Not sits after the modal verb. Use could not and couldn't to say that something was not possible in the past. His ankle was so sore yesterday that he scold not couldn't walk. Use cannot and can't when you're certain something. It cannot can't be broken because John walked to the doctor. Is impossible. 43.2. Further examples, might and could. Faye's got a sore throat and isn't feeling well. She might have a cold. My eyes are itchy and I have a runny nose. It could be hay fever. I was so sick last week that I couldn't get out of bed. I can't have the flu because I don't have a high temperature. 148. 43.3. Fill in the gaps using the words in the panel. Might be able to change your doctor's appointment time for you. Oh, Carla felt so sick last weekend that she Bastian, your wrist. Go back to work until Wednesday. Be able to come over as he's allergic to most pets, and I have 3 dogs. Be broken as you're able to lean on it without much pain. I recommend you go to the hospital. Your stomach pain. Be appendicitis. Couldn't. Might. Can't. Could. Might not. 43.4. Listen to the audio and answer the questions. Jess and Boris are wondering why their manager, Selena, is not at work today. Selena is at a marketing conference. 43.5. Responds to the audio, speaking out loud. It could. Doctor, my son's wrist is sore. Be sprained. True. False. Not given. Selena gets the bus to work. True. False. Not given. Yes, I did walk here. But I think it's broken. It be broken. Oh, Selena can't be sick today. True. False. Not given. Selena might have caught the flu from James. True. False. Not given. Boris doesn't need Selena's help with the report. True. False. Not given. Jess says Boris might be able to contact Selena. True. False. Not given. My boss had a bad cough yesterday. He go to work today. I've got a sore throat and a headache. Have a cold. I heard you weren't very well yesterday. Get out of bed. 149. 2. 8. 150. 43.6. Match the beginnings of the sentences to the correct endings. It can't be morning already. I can't find my doctor's letter. My hay fever could be getting worse. Marco's arm could be infected. I think my dad has a cold. Jackie had a skiing accident. If you don't feel any better soon. That can't be Ailsha skating over there. We're stuck in traffic. So it might be lost. Because it's red and swollen. And might need an operation on her knee. I've hardly had any sleep. Because my eyes are itchy and sore. You might need to go to the doctor. Because he can't stop sneezing. So we might be late for the appointment. Because her ankle's broken. 43.7. Cross out the incorrect word in each sentence. The doctor said I can't need an operation if my knee doesn't improve. Majid could Can't be feeling very sick. He's playing soccer tonight. I'm starting to get a lot of headaches. My sister said I cannot need glasses. My shoulders ache. It might not, could be because I work all day at a desk. Your stomach ache might not be serious. It might just be something you ate. The reason you've got a pain in your foot cannot be because your shoes are too small. 43.8 Read the email and answer the questions. VX 2. Giulietta Fernande. Subject. Recovery. Hi Giulietta. It's great to hear from you. I haven't been very well recently. Last week, I was so sick that I couldn't go to work at all. At first I had a sore throat and a high temperature. I thought it could be tonsillitis. Then I got a terrible headache, and I couldn't stop vomiting. Ruby was sure I had food poisoning, but I thought it might not be that because I'd been feeling too sick to eat very much. I was afraid that it could be something really serious. After a few days I felt a bit better, but I was still worried, so I made an appointment to see my doctor. I told her about my symptoms and she managed to reassure me. Now I know that it can't be tonsillitis because my tonsils aren't swollen, and it can't be food poisoning because I'm not vomiting anymore. The doctor told me to get plenty of rest, drink lots of water, and take painkillers if I needed to. I still have a cough and a mild headache, but I'm feeling much better than I was this time last week. Want to meet for coffee once I've made a full recovery? Hope to see you soon. Xavier. What couldn't Xavier do last week? Get out of bed. Leave the house. Go to work. What illness did Xavier think he could have? Tonsillitis. Food poisoning. A headache. What wasn't one of Xavier's symptoms? A high temperature. Backache. A sore throat. Xavier probably didn't have food poisoning. Because he wasn't vomiting because he hadn't eaten much. Because he was seriously sick. Why can't Xavier have tonsillitis? He has had it before. He doesn't have a sore throat. His tonsils aren't swollen. The doctor didn't advise Xavier to. Go back to work. Take painkillers. Drink lots of water. 43 Checklist. Might and could. Health and sickness. Talking about possibility. 151. 44 Polite requests. Use can, could, and may to ask permission to do something, or to ask someone to do something for you. Some constructions are more formal than others. 44.1 Key language, can, could, and may. Use can I plus the verb to make a request. Can is mostly used in informal situations. Ben, can I have some popcorn? New language, can, could, and may. Vocabulary good manners new skill asking permission. Could replaces can for more formal situations, such as in business or to talk to strangers. Excuse me, could I sit here, please? Include please in polite requests. Yes, you can. Informal answers use can as well. Make negative answers more polite by adding I'm sorry or I'm afraid. Single quote. I'm sorry, but that seat is taken. May can also be used in formal situations. May I take your coat? Yes, thank you. 44.2 Further examples, can, could, and may. 152. Can I borrow your pen? Excuse me, could I have a glass of water? Sure. Here you go. Of course. Tip, could, and may are rarely used in short answers to polite questions. Good evening. May I reserve a table for 7 p.m.? I'm afraid we're completely full this evening. 44.3 Mark the best reply to each request. All of these replies are correct, but some are more appropriate for formal or informal situations. Can I borrow your car, Harry? No, you can't, Joe. I need it today. 44.4 Respond out loud to the audio using the words in the panel. Can I have some cake, Auntie Mel? Yes, you can. Excuse me, do you know where the station is? No, you may not. Could I please order a dozen red roses? But I've sold out. I'm afraid I don't know. Could I please have the last sandwich? Enjoy it. No, I don't. Can I borrow your laptop? Can we go soon? The show starts at 8 p.m. Yes, when I've finished my coffee. I'm afraid that won't be possible. No, you. I need it. Excuse me, may I sit next to you? Yes, you. May I suggest we meet in the restaurant at 7 p.m.? Yes, see you later. Yes, that sounds perfect, Ms. Elika. Could I speak to Rangit Singh, please? He's busy. May I offer you a cup of coffee, Mrs. Soto? Yes. Could we postpone our meeting until tomorrow? I'm sorry, but I have meetings all day. Can. I'm afraid. May. Can't. No, we can't. I'm sorry. Please. Of course. 44. Checklist. Can, could, and may. Are good manners. Asking permission. 153. 45 more phrasal verbs. Some phrasal verbs contain 3 words rather than 2. Like 2-word phrasal verbs, they are often used in informal spoken English. New language 3-word phrasal verbs are vocabulary personal relationships. 45.1 Key language THREE word phrasal verbs. 3-word phrasal verbs consist of a verb, a particle, and a preposition. The particle and preposition often change the usual meaning of the verb. New skill understanding informal English. Verb plus particle plus preposition. He looks up to his brother. The verb changes with the subject. The particle and preposition never change form. R 45.2 match the sentences with similar meanings. He argued with his friend. I have a bad relationship with my sister. There's no milk left. I won't tolerate his loud music. Are you excited about the concert? He thinks he's more important than everyone. You thought of a great plan. We've run out of milk. He fell out with his friend. I don't get along with my sister. Are you looking forward to the concert? You came up with a great plan. I won't put up with his loud music. He looks down on everyone. 45.3 Listen to the audio and answer the questions. Amir tells Ruth about a difficult situation at work. Amir's boss respects his staff. False. True. Amir thinks it's hard to respect his boss. True. False. 2. Amir hasn't tried to like his boss. True. False. Amir knows he can't argue with his boss. True. False. Amir isn't losing patience with his boss. True. False. 6. Ruth thinks Amir's boss is treating him badly. True. False. 154. 45.4 Intonation THREE word phrasal verbs. When you say 3-word phrasal verbs out loud, put the stress on the middle word. Look up to get along with. Look forward to. 45.5 Say the sentences out loud, filling in the gaps using the words in the panel. I'm making a cake, but I've run out of eggs. Look down on. Turn the radio down. I can't. That noise. Came up with. Our department works well because we each other. Put up with. Dad. A great idea for Madison's birthday. Get along with. Run out of. Don't. Your staff. They're just as important as you. 45.6 Rewrite these sentences using THREE word phrasal verbs. Wan really admires his teacher. Wan really looks up to his teacher. Alexa is excited about her vacation. 2. Trevor has a good relationship with Pam. Michelle always thinks of good ideas. 4. Gavin thinks he's more important than us. 6. I can't stand his behavior any longer. 45. Checklist. 3-word phrasal verbs. Are personal relationships. Understanding informal English. 155. 46. Asking for agreement. Use question tags in spoken English to encourage another person to agree with you, or to check that information is correct. 46.1 Key language question tags. New language question tags. Are vocabulary, travel and leisure plans, new skill checking information. When you use question tags, a negative question tag follows a positive statement, and a positive question tag follows a negative statement. The verb that is used in the question tag depends on the verb that is used in the statement. A present simple statement is followed by a question tag with the present simple form of do. Single quote. Present simple. Question tag. Mel plays the violin, doesn't she? A past simple statement is followed by a question tag with the past simple form of do. Single quote. Hui. Past simple. Question tag. John studied art, didn't he? Auxiliary main. A statement with an auxiliary verb is followed by a question tag with the same auxiliary verb. 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 Question tag. You haven't seen my keys, have you? Auxiliary verb. Main verb. Describes the action. Question tag uses the same auxiliary verb. A statement with the verb be is followed by a question tag that also uses be. Single quote. #t. Verb be. S. Question tag. He is annoyed, isn't he? 156. 46.2 Rewrite the sentences, correcting the errors. 46.3 Add question tags to the sentences. Andy plays the piano, isn't he? Andy plays the piano, doesn't he? It's not very warm today. Is it? Question mark. We haven't met, are we? You walk the dog, don't you? She cycles to work, hasn't she? Ben has gone to China, that was a good concert. 3 You're not upset. 4 She doesn't like cheese, you went to work today. They haven't eaten yet. Question mark. Question mark. Question mark. Question mark. This book is amazing, doesn't it? Luis speaks English. Zoe is working late. 46.4 Change the questions into sentences with question tags, then say them out loud. Have you seen my pen? You haven't seen my pen, have you? Is the phone ringing? Oh, did Renata work in sales? 6 Was Will at the party? Were you listening to me? Was that a good book? Oh, does he know the answer? Oh, has Liam done the dishes? Question mark. Question mark. Question mark. 157. 46.5 Key language question tags with modal verbs. Statements with modal verbs such as could, would, and should are followed by question tags that use the same modal verb. Modal verb. Question tag. Tim should be here by now, shouldn't he? Use the same modal verb in the statement and the question tag. 46.6 Further examples question tags with modal verbs. I heard the house is haunted. We shouldn't be here, should we? You could teach me to drive, couldn't you? She would love this restaurant, wouldn't she? Shorkuno. 46.7 Add question tags to the sentences. They couldn't come earlier, could they? You wouldn't go alone. Question mark. 2 He shouldn't eat so much. Question mark. We would love to go to your party. Question mark. You could help me. Question mark. She could stay with you. Question mark. We should save some money. Question mark. One you wouldn't tell her. Question mark. False. 46.8 Listen to the audio and answer the questions. Aman and Lita are packing for their vacation. A man forgot to pack the sun cream. True, false. Lita packed their swimming things. True, false. 2. A man thinks they need to take a gift. True, false. Lita thinks a man enjoys golf. True. She shouldn't work so hard. Question mark. A man doesn't want Lita to go hiking. You would like a snack? Question mark. True, false. 158. 46.9 Say the sentences out loud, adding question tags. It's raining outside. Isn't it? Question mark. They should buy the house. Question mark. He would enjoy this book. Question mark. It isn't too cold here. Question mark. He wouldn't let me try. Question mark. She did tell you. Question mark. 46. Checklist. Question tags. Travel and leisure plans. Checking information. Review the English you have learned in Units 42 to 46. New language. Sample sentence. Must and have to. Must not and don't have to. Might and could. Might not and could not. Cancould and may. Unit. You must rest or your leg won't heal. 42.1. You have to rest or your leg won't heal. You must not get your bandage wet. You don't have to come here again. John has a sore ankle. It might be broken. John has a sore ankle. It could be broken. It might not be a serious injury. His ankle was so sore that he could not walk. Can I have some popcorn? Could I sit here, please? May I take your coat? Three word phrasal verbs. He looks up to his brother. Question tags. Question tags with modal verbs. Mel plays the violin, doesn't she? Tim should be here by now, shouldn't he? 42.1. 43.1. 0. 43.1. 44.1. 45.1. 46.5. Intimie. 46.1. 159. 47 Vocabulary. 47.1 Science. Chemicals. Solid. Liquid. Gas. Crystals. Hypothesis. To record. To observe. Experiment. Results. To pour. To mix. Reaction. To stir. To dissolve. 333. To heat. To burn. To boil. Steam. To evaporate. To cool. To freeze. To melt. To float. To sink. 4. 47.2 Tools. 01. File. Magnet. Battery. Saw. Hacksaw. To retract. Electric shock. Hammer. Screwdriver. Wrench. US. Spanner. UK. C. To repel. Static electricity. Nail. Screw. Bolt. 40. Nut. Par. Beaker. Safety goggles. Drill. Pliers. Thermometer. Microscope. Level. US. Spirit level. UK. Vice. Tape measure. 161. 48 Things that are always true. English uses the zero conditional to talk about actions that always have the same results. This is useful for talking about scientific facts. 48.1 Key language. The zero conditional. The zero conditional uses if, or, when, with the new language. Zero conditional. Vocabulary. Scientific facts. Action. New skill. Talking about general truths. Result. Present simple, followed by the present simple in the main clause. When. If close black lens bracket you. Both can be used without changing the meaning. Heat water, it boils. 48.2 Further examples. The zero conditional. If you heat ice, it melts. When you put a rock in water, it sinks. If you drop an apple, it falls. When you pour oil onto water, it floats. H. 48.3 How to form the zero conditional. 162. If, when. If, when. Both can be used. Action. Present simple. Comma. Result. Present simple. You heat water. Present simple describes the action. Comma separates action from result. Result is described using present simple. It boils. 48.4 Match the beginnings of the sentences to the correct endings. When carbon reacts with oxygen. If you throw a ball up. If you mix blue and yellow paint. When you freeze water. If you put sugar in water. If you set fire to paper. If you don't water plants. It falls down again. It turns to ice. It burns. You get carbon dioxide. You make green paint. You produce steam. (48.4) Match the beginnings of the sentences to the correct endings. When carbon reacts with oxygen. If you throw a ball up. If you mix blue and yellow paint. When you freeze water. If you put sugar in water. If you set fire to paper. If you don't water plants. It falls down again. It turns to ice. It burns. You get carbon dioxide. You make green paint. You produce steam. It dissolves. When you boil water, they die. 48.5 Read the article and answer the questions. Static electricity can make your hair stick out. True, false, not given. Static electricity can't make a can move on its own. True, false. Not given. Static electricity can power a light bulb. True, false, not given. Static electricity can make water move away. True, false, not given. Oh, static electricity doesn't make things stick to walls. True, false, not given. Oh, static electricity can give you an electric shock. True, false, not given. Fun science. Static electricity, when you rub a balloon against your hair, it makes your hair stick out. This is because you've generated static electricity. Static electricity can also move an empty soda can. Rub the balloon against your hair, then put the balloon near the can. The can rolls away by itself. Static electricity can also move water. Turn on a faucet, so that water is dripping. If you rub the balloon on your hair again and put the balloon near the water moves away from the balloon. Static electricity can make things stick. If you rub the balloon on your hair, then put the balloon on a wall, it sticks to the wall. 163. 164. 48.6 Listen to the audio, then number the sentences in the order you hear them. Ida is giving her class a science lesson. Water in the form of a gas is called steam. Water can be a solid, a liquid, or a gas. Water becomes ice if we cool it to 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Steam becomes liquid again when it cools. When water boils, it changes to a gas. If we heat water, it boils. RR 48.7 Look at the pictures and fill in the gaps using the words in the panel. When you butter, it heat melts. If you it a ball. If you red and blue, you purple. When you salt, If you, water. In water, it, steam, get, bounces, strike, boil, heat, put, burns, melts. When you, a match, it, dissolves, drop, mix, becomes. 48.8 Another way to say the zero conditional. Sentences using the zero conditional can be reversed, so the result comes before the action. Use a comma if the action comes first. When you freeze water, ice forms. Ice forms when you freeze water. The result can come at the beginning of the sentence. If, or, when, can sit between the action and result, without a comma. 48.9 Say the sentences out loud, reversing the order of the phrases. If it rains, the grass gets wet. The grass gets wet if it rains. You get orange if you mix red and yellow. 48.10 Rewrite the sentences, putting the words in the correct order. Drop if falls. It rock you if you drop a rock, it falls. 1 When it melts ice you heat. 2 When you boil water, you produce steam. 3 If there is no oxygen, wood doesn't burn. 4 It gets dark when the sun sets. Ball moves. If kick it you are water. Grow you plants them. If 4 Sun rises light. It when gets the 48 Checklist. Zero conditional. RR Scientific facts. Talking about general truths. 165. 49 Describing a process. When the thing receiving the action is more important than the person or thing doing the action, you can emphasize it using the present simple passive. New language present simple passive RR Vocabulary Science Experiments New skill describing a process. 49.1 Key language The present simple passive. When it is unimportant or not known who or what does an action, English uses the present simple passive. The passive also has the effect of emphasizing the action. 0, 0. In the experiment, water is heated until it boils. It is not known or not important who heats the water. 49.2 Further examples The present simple passive. The water is not stirred in this experiment. Use not to form negatives of the present simple passive. A thermometer is suspended above the water. After 2 minutes, the temperature is taken. The results are recorded on the chart. 49.3 How to form the present simple passive. 166. Subject. Water. ISR. The thing that receives the action. Present simple of verb, to be. Single quote. Past participle. Rest of sentence. Heated. Until it boils. The past participle describes what happens to the subject. 49.4 Fill in the gaps by putting the verbs in the present simple passive. The water is frozen. Opening parenthesis. Freeze. To make ice to use in the experiment. The liquid. The plant cells. Opening parenthesis. Heat. For several minutes until it starts to boil. Opening parenthesis. Observe. Using a state-of-the-art microscope. Static electricity. The chemicals. The temperature of the salt water. 2 beakers. Opening parenthesis. Generate. When you rub a balloon against your hair. Opening parenthesis. Add. Slowly to the water to start the reaction. Opening parenthesis. Take. Using a thermometer. Opening parenthesis. Fill. Almost to the top with a mixture of oil and water. 49.5 Rewrite the sentences using the present simple passive. We heat the liquid for 10 minutes. The liquid is heated for 10 minutes. We do not remove the liquid from the heat. We do not pour oil into the water. We boil the water to make steam. Greater than we leave the liquid to cool in a glass jar. We dissolve salt in the water. We observe crystals forming in the jar. We measure the size of the crystals. We do not mix the oil and water together. We record the results of the experiment. 167. 49.6 Say full sentences out loud, filling in the gaps by putting the verbs in the present simple passive. The temperature of the water is recorded. The water. The chemicals. When the substance. Opening parenthesis. Record. Every 5 minutes. Opening parenthesis. Remove. From the heat once it has boiled. Opening parenthesis. Pour. Into a test tube to start the reaction. Opening parenthesis. Mix. With water, it changes color. Opening parenthesis. Observe. Dot. Opening parenthesis. Cool. For approximately 1 hour until it sets. The reaction between the chemicals and the water. The mixture. The water. The two substances. The results. Opening parenthesis. Stir. For 5 minutes until all the salt dissolves. Opening parenthesis. Place. In a test tube together. Opening parenthesis. Estimate. Before the experiment takes place. 40. 49.7 Listen to the audio and mark whether each activity is described in the active or passive voice. A. Active. B. Passive. 168. 1AB. 5AB. 49.8 Read the article and answer the questions. Q. Chemistry now. The scientific method is used to help us answer questions or solve problems. It has 6 stages. Stage 1 Asking a question. A question is posed. For example, does grass grow quicker under green or red light? Stage 2 Research. Research is carried out, for example using books, journals, and articles. Stage 3 Hypothesis. The results of the research are used to predict the answer to the question. This prediction is called a hypothesis. Stage 4 Experiment. Now a test or process is designed so that the hypothesis can be tested. For example, grass seeds are grown under red light and under green light. The growth is observed and noted. In this way, the growth rates of the grass under different conditions can be compared. Stage 5 Analysis of the results. The results of the experiment are recorded and analyzed. Stage 6 Conclusion. The results are reviewed to check whether or not they support the original hypothesis. Scientific method. What is the first stage of the asking a question, solving a problem, answering a question? What are scientists least likely to use when carrying out their research? Books, articles, newspapers. Question mark. What do scientists generally use to form a hypothesis? A test or process. Results of their research. A questionnaire. 000 000 3 How do scientists test whether or not a hypothesis is correct? They research the hypothesis. They grow grass seeds. They design an experiment. 000 What stage of the scientific method comes after the experiment? Analyzing the results. Checking the results. Recording the hypothesis. What do scientists do in the final stage of the scientific method? Prove the original hypothesis. Review the results. Disprove the hypothesis. 49 Checklist. C. Present simple passive. R. Science experiments. Describing a process. 169. 50 things that might happen. English uses conditional verbs to describe the future results of a proposed action. This is useful for suggesting plans and giving advice. 50.1 Key language. The first conditional. The first conditional expresses a suggested action that might lead to a future result. New language. First conditional. R. Vocabulary tools and making things new. Skill giving advice and instructions. Suggested action. Future result. If I save enough money, I'll go on vacation. 50.2 Further examples. The first conditional. First conditional sentences can start with the result. There is no comma before if. Single quote. I won't go outside if it rains. If I go jogging, I'll lose weight. Dollar. If it snows, I'll go skiing. If I cook, will you do the dishes? 50.3 How to form the first conditional. The first conditional is usually introduced by if, followed by the present simple. The future with will expresses the result. If. Present simple. If I save enough money. If shows that the sentence is conditional. Present simple tense. Describes suggested action. 170. Comma. Future with will. I'll go on vacation. Comma separates action from result. Future with will describes the result. 50.4 Fill in the gaps by putting the verbs in the correct tenses. Mao. If you hold, opening parenthesis, hold the ladder, I will paint, opening parenthesis, paint the wall. If I, opening parenthesis, eat healthily, I, opening parenthesis, lose weight. 18. We, opening parenthesis, dance. If the band, opening parenthesis, play good music. If we, opening parenthesis, go shopping, I, opening parenthesis, buy you something nice, opening parenthesis, build the cupboard. If you, opening parenthesis, read the instructions. 50.5 Listen to the audio and answer the questions. Gilly is building a cupboard, and Colin is trying to help. False. Colin knows what Gilly is doing. True. 50.6 Say the sentences out loud, reversing the order of the phrases. If it rains, you'll get wet. You'll get wet if it rains. He'll find it if he looks for it. Gilly wants to protect the floor. True. False. 2 Gilly is organizing her materials and tools. True. False. 3 Gilly has her own electric screwdriver. True. False. 4 Gilly wants Colin to read the instructions. True. False. 6 The cupboard won't fit through the door. True. False. 2 If she's hungry, I'll cook dinner. If it's broken, will they fix it? I'll tell him to call you if I see him. 171. 50.7 Key language first conditional with unless. You can use unless instead of if in conditional sentences. Unless means if not, so the future result depends on the suggested action not happening. If you don't, unless you study hard, you will fail your exams. 50.8 Further examples first conditional with unless. If you don't, unless you get up now, you'll be late for work. I'll be angry if he doesn't turn that music down. I'll be angry unless he turns. 50.9 Rewrite the sentences using unless. If they don't listen, they'll get it wrong. Unless they listen, they'll get it wrong. You'll damage the floor if you don't cover it. 2 If you don't go to bed, you'll be tired tomorrow. He'll get annoyed if you don't speak politely. The cat won't run away if she's not frightened. She'll arrive on time if her train isn't delayed. If you don't attach it securely, it will break. We'll do the job if it's not too difficult. 172. 50.10 Read the instruction manual and write answers to the questions as full sentences. 1. Use wood glue carefully unless you want your new furniture to be stained. Leave the glue to set for 24 hours. 3. Make sure all pieces are in the right place and fit perfectly before you try to fasten them. 2. If you use an electric screwdriver to join parts together, there's a risk that the screws will be too tight. Unless you finish the process by hand, you could damage your new furniture. 4. If you check that the doors fit before you tighten the hinges, your doors will open smoothly. If you don't check that the doors fit, they will stick and look uneven. What will happen if you don't use wood glue carefully? Your new furniture will be stained. What might happen if you use an electric screwdriver to join parts together? 2. How can you make sure you don't damage your new furniture? What must you check before you try to fasten all the pieces? 4. What must you do to make sure your doors open smoothly? 6. What will happen unless you check that the doors fit properly? 50 checklist. First, conditional O. R tools and making things. Giving advice and instructions. 173.